My cheating wife humiliated me at our parents' anniversary party. Her laughter was louder than the music, sharp, cutting. It carried over the clinking of glasses, past the polite chatter, straight into my chest. She stood in the center of the room, wineglass in hand, her voice dripping with amusement. "You'll never be as successful as me, David," she announced, smiling at the crowd like it was a toast. "Not in 100 years." Heads turned. Some chuckled, others avoided my eyes. I smiled, a measured, deliberate smile. The air between us was cold, even with 100 bodies pressing warmth into it. I saw my mother's fingers tighten around her champagne flute. My father's jaw tensed. They didn't speak. No one did, but I did, quietly. "Wanna bet?" Her eyebrows rose in mock surprise, like I had just given her permission to win again. She laughed, softer this time, but still loud enough. That's when I felt it, the shift. I didn't decide to change everything in that moment. I had decided days ago. Tonight was just the stage. I excused myself politely, brushing past guests, my phone already in my hand. A number waited in my recent calls. When they answered, I didn't waste a word. "Send it," I said. And with that, the night began to bleed. 3 weeks earlier, the first crack appeared. A text meant for someone else. Short, intimate. Nothing you'd send to a coworker, unless that coworker knew the taste of your skin. I read it twice. Didn't reply. She came home that evening smelling faintly of whiskey and cologne. Not mine, not hers. She dropped her purse on the counter like nothing was wrong and kissed my cheek like she wasn't kissing someone else's hours earlier. I didn't confront her. Confrontation is noisy. Noise makes people careful. Instead, I started noticing things. Her phone tilted away from me at dinner. Late-night work calls in the garage. A new password on her laptop. The humiliation hadn't begun at the anniversary party. That was just her most public attempt. The real humiliation was quieter, an erosion, drip by drip. It wasn't just infidelity, it was the arrogance of it, the assumption that I would never know. Or worse, that if I knew, I wouldn't have the courage to act. She had no idea who she was married to. I moved in silence. I started with her phone records, easy enough when the account is in my name. A number kept appearing, late nights, long durations. I stored it. I checked her calendar against her credit card statements. Meetings that didn't exist. Transactions in neighborhoods she never mentioned visiting. Then came the private investigator. Not some trench coat cliché, just a man who understood that truth hides in plain sight. He gave me photos, dates, times, a pattern. In the pictures, she was always laughing. Head tilted back, fingers curled into his jacket. The part that stung wasn't the intimacy, it was the joy she had stopped showing me years ago. Still, I didn't let it break me. I treated it like an equation. Every detail a variable. Every action a calculated step toward the inevitable solution. I made copies of everything, stored them in 3 separate places. One of them was already in the hands of a journalist I trusted. Not because I needed public sympathy, but because reputations don't recover from certain kinds of truth. She liked to humiliate me in front of family. I would return the favor, in front of everyone who ever believed she was untouchable. The proof came in a manila envelope, thick, heavy, final. I opened it in my study, the rain tapping the windows like an impatient guest. Photos, reports, hotel receipts, a timeline so precise it could have been a police case file. It was him, her business partner, the one she swore she barely tolerated, the one who had shaken my hand with a grip just firm enough to hide the guilt in his eyes. I didn't feel rage. I felt still. Later that night, I placed the envelope on the kitchen counter. She walked in, scrolling through her phone. "What's this?" she asked. I shrugged. "Something you'll want to read alone." She opened it. Her fingers froze on the first photograph. For a long moment, the only sound in the room was her breathing. Quick, shallow. She looked up. I didn't let her finish. Save it. Her lips trembled. My face didn't. At the anniversary party, the call I made wasn't to a friend. It was to the journalist. Within minutes, her phone buzzed. Then another. Then a dozen. Whispers began. People glanced at her screen. At her. At me. I stood by the bar, sipping my drink, watching it unfold. She checked her messages, saw the article, the photos, the dates, the headline with her name and his, side by side. Her face drained. Her glass shook. I didn't move toward her, didn't offer comfort, didn't speak. I wanted her to feel the isolation I had felt, standing in a room full of people, with no one to turn to. When her eyes finally met mine, there was no defiance left. Only the hollow understanding that the game was over. I raised my glass slightly, a silent toast. She looked away first. I left the party early. The night air was cool, almost clean. As I walked to my car, I thought about the years we had spent together, how I had once believed we were a team, how I had mistaken her ambition for strength, her charm for love. I didn't feel grief. I felt release. Some betrayals demand forgiveness. This one demanded an ending. She would survive this, eventually, but she would never outrun it. And she would never again